Hello Internet and welcome to Gaming for the Weekend. I'm pretty stoked right now. I've been playing a lot of Anthem over the last week or two. I've had time off of work and I've been lucky enough to spend a lot of it getting immersed into Bioware's new game. If however you have been playing in-game Anthem content, or you've been following the game or deciding whether or not to buy it, you likely know that the game is having a few issues, and probably the biggest one of those issues is loot at the moment. The situation is that Bioware mistakenly increased loot drops for about 12 hours, which made the game incredibly fun, and then took the loot away again, and seemingly decreased the levels to a point where, for most endgame instances or dungeons, you'd spend a half an hour to an hour doing the instance, and you'd get pretty much nothing for it. And you could spend a whole day and get absolutely no loot, or no increases to your character. And this is a pretty fresh max level character. So that's a pretty frustrating situation for a looter shooter. I've played a lot of them in my time, or looting games. I've played a lot of Destiny, both Destiny 1 and 2. And I know I was around shooting into the loot cave endlessly to get the possible chance of an exotic. So I know the pain from before. So Ben, the lead producer for the game, just came out and announced a bunch of changes that he spoke about 24 hours ago. So I thought I would give my thoughts about them, read through them, because I've spent about 100 hours in the game, 90 hours to be precise. So I know a fair bit about playing at the end, at the max level, and I thought I'd give my thoughts about it. So what I'm going to do is read through them, give you my thoughts as I go, and then give you my thoughts just on Anthem as a whole at the end of the video. So let's have a look at the comments that Ben posted onto Reddit. I'll put the link down below to the Reddit thread. Reddit's been very active about the game so far. So I'm going to try and read this as I go. I'm not very good at reading out, so you're going to have to bear with me. But so Ben writes, "Hey all, first off, thank you for all the feedback around loot drops. This is what we have heard. Many inscriptions are not useful to the item they're attached to. This is 100% true. For example, you could get a gun that has a lot of elemental damage attached to only the gun, but the gun doesn't do elemental damage. Doesn't help. Like if a gun has 150% increased elemental damage, but it doesn't do any elemental damage, it's a moot point. So you could get a legendary item that has amazing rolls, but it does absolutely nothing. That is what they have heard needs to change, which is awesome. Ben, awesome. Due to this, players need to get many masterworks of the same item to find a good one. This is also true. Players want the frequency of masterwork drops to increase to help with above, or they want us to change how masterwork inscriptions work so that they're more useful. I would argue both. There is more feedback. The above is a summary. So he goes on to more feedback below. This is our plan for changes to go live on February 28th or March 1st Central US time. Today is February 28th. Awesome. But I'm gonna guess it's gonna go live tomorrow, which is great. I'm super stoked. Ben, the entire team at Anthem, love the game. There's things that need to be fixed, but I love the game. I'm super stoked about how proactive the team have been at fixing things that the community has flagged. It is amazing. Please keep up the good work. So we went on to the changes. Inscriptions are now better for the items they are on. Okay, this applies to new items earned in Anthem, not existing ones in your vault, which I think is a fair thing to do. The game is still fairly fresh. People haven't invested thousands of hours into the game. Some people cheesed the 12-hour or 11-hour loot period pretty hard and kitted out their characters to max level full of legendaries. Given they cheesed it, they probably don't deserve to have rerolls and all those items and have fully decked out characters, because they'll stop playing in a week anyway, because there'll be nothing to do because there's not enough content yet until Act 1 comes out. So I think that's fine. I don't think they have to backdate the changes. If an inscription applies only to the item it's on, so a gear icon, it'll be useful to that item. Otherwise, the inscription will provide a javelin-wide benefit. That hasn't changed. Items have always had character-wide abilities and then specific. What I was talking about earlier with the elemental is if it was a javelin-wide elemental increase, that would be amazing. But the problem is it was limited to just the gun, and the gun didn't have elemental damage. For an example, an assault rifle will not have an item specific to pistol damage, hopefully not, But it may have an electric damage suit-wide inscription, cool for a lightning build. Awesome. That's exactly what we want. That it can have stats bonuses to other things or other abilities that you have equipped, as long as it's relevant, right? Some more information below. They've removed uncommon and common items from level 30 drop tables, which is awesome. One of the biggest problems has been doing an instance or a dungeon, getting to one of the boss chests or the boss, and getting a bunch of complete trash loot that is unusable. They're changing this by removing white and green items from the level 30 drop tables. That still leaves blue, purple, gold, and yellow. Gold and yellow being the ones that you probably want. So I do have concerns there about them taking out the green and white and replacing it with just blues and purples, which would still yield very little relevant loot. But we'll see about that in a moment. That was a highly requested change, and we agree, so that's that. Awesome, I'm glad that that's been fixed. Another requested change by the community was we've reduced crafting materials needed to craft a masterwork from 25 masterwork embers to 15 masterwork embers. This is good. I think I've played about 100 hours. I've got about, I think it's about 100 masterwork embers right now. So for an item to have taken 25 to create, especially when the rolls could have been trash, was way too high. So by both increasing the chance of good rolls and lowering the embers, they've significantly improved the crafting system, which I think is good. As you salvage your harvest, you should be able to craft more masterwork items from the inscriptions you're looking for, or to get the inscriptions you're looking for. Again, good. Now that inscriptions are more relevant to their item, this should yield better results for players. Now, a problem with the crafting system is that generally crafting recipes are pretty hard to get. You either have to use an item quite a lot and complete a challenge with the item, or get them from other kinds of challenges that are completed, but they're generally pretty difficult. I only have one masterwork that I can craft at the moment, and I've got a fair amount of time in the game. So I'm not sure how much that's going to improve things. Additional inscription change details. It's hard to write a short version of this, but I'm going to try. If we need to add more information later, we can do that. Thank you, Ben. There is a large pool of inscription options available to roll on items. The inscription pools are generic, example, weapons. So every masterwork item has 4 inscriptions: major primary, minor primary, major secondary, and minor secondary. The change they're suggesting is that each item type now has a specific set of inscription options, each for each of their inscription pools. The pools are smaller and targeted to the specific item type. For an example, there used to be a weapon pool, now there's an assault rifle pool, and the assault rifle pool has 4 pools for each inscription type listed above. Primary inscriptions are focused on damage or survivability, so any item specific inscriptions gear icon will always benefit the item they're on. Javelin wide inscriptions suit icon will benefit damage or survivability across the whole javelin. Secondary inscriptions will focus on utility and can be targeted to the item or the entire javelin. Okay, that is very, very good. Okay, so that's Ben's comments. There's already a ton of comments. This post was live about 20 minutes ago, and there's already about 500 comments, so the community is getting all over it and overwhelming Ben with feedback. So I think that overall, the changes they're making to inscriptions are awesome. They're really, really good. They will make item rolls relevant, so you won't get a legendary item, for example, and it be complete trash and unusable. At least if you get an assault rifle that's legendary, it'll have assault rifle rolls. You might get some rolls that aren't that great, but they're going to be relevant. Likewise, the suit wide bonuses, whether that's lightning damage or physical damage or shield bonuses, they're all going to hopefully be relevant and not be irrelevant. So that's a major increase, at least now for the masterworks and the legendaries that we do get. And you can get about a couple of masterworks guaranteed every day. You can do the 3 contracts, which gets you a masterwork each. You can run one of the strongholds, which gives you a masterwork each, bearing in mind their component or ability, not weapon. Weapon rolls are random, and you have to get them from in other ways. That really, really helps a lot in terms of gearing up a character and at least getting relevant items. Now, what I think is left out here, in summary, The positive changes are we're going to get good rolls on Masterworks and Legendaries. Awesome. Bioware, thank you. Then we talk about drop rates. So what Bioware are suggesting they're going to do is take away uncommons, so green and white drops, uncommon drops, and we'll have more, assuming of the better drops. Now, what I'm not sure about is if I run a stronghold, so generally there's 2 chests and the boss. Instead of getting whites and greens, am I now just going to get blues and purples? Or is there also going to be an increased chance for me to get Masterwork and Legendary? And the reason that I say that is in general in practice, and I've run about 20 strongholds since the loot nerfs came in, 20, 30 strongholds. I've seen, I think, 1 Masterwork out of a chest. And that's a very, very low rate. Masterworks are not that amazing. It should be faster than that. So we'll probably get some clarification around this, but I think a challenge that we're going to need to overcome, or Bioware will need to overcome, is to make sure that they are not just swapping the whites and greens for blues and purples, but also increasing the odds to get a Masterwork or a Legendary on each of those item rolls, because otherwise players are still going to be pretty unhappy. What we want to see is more orange and yellow popping up, or more gold and yellow popping up, not just a set item and hoping that it's going to have a good roll. So those are the changes. I think all in all, it's definitely going in a good direction. Again, Ben and the team at Bioware, thank you so much for acting on this fairly quickly and coding changes by this seemingly very, very quickly. That definitely bodes well for changes that are hopefully going to come in the future to make the game better. Bug fixes like things like the sound and missions dropping out and server issues. Hopefully those get fixed equally as well. I am slightly concerned because I think a lot of the player base that plays this will also play The Division, and The Division is launching soon, so there's a limited time that this game has to get things to a point where players are comfortable and happy without them all just jumping ship and going to play The Division, which, from what I've heard, has fixed a lot of the problems that the first game had. If you're wondering about Anthem as a whole, people who are wondering about the loot changes, you can move on. Short version, better rolls, hopefully slightly more Masterworks and Legendaries, but that's not guaranteed. Definite improvements, but is it enough? I don't know. For the people that are wondering about whether or not you should get Anthem, I think it's a fantastic game. It does have things that need to be worked on. There's sound bugs, there's server bugs that can crash, there's annoying server shutting down messages, especially in free play, that tell you every 30 seconds that the server's shutting down for the next 2 hours, which is just annoying. But the core gameplay mechanics of this game are incredibly fun. To fly around, to damage things, shoot, punch, whatever you want to do, it's really fun. And I've had a great time with feeling like Iron Man, putting on Thunderstruck by AC/DC and flying around, destroying everything. There's not that much endgame content yet, but hopefully Act 1 that's coming, I think, in March or April will fix that. You can get the game for $20 with a monthly subscription to Origin Prime, whatever it's called, Premium, Origin Premium. So for $20, you can sign up for a month. You can cancel that if you don't want to continue with it. You can try the game for a month and see what it's like. And if you want to buy it, which I think is pretty damn good. I'm pretty impressed with EA that they've done that. That's what I'm on at the moment, and I'll probably extend it for a little bit or just buy the game. Maybe I'll wait till the end of the month because I've had it for 2 weeks now to see what changes come in the next 2 weeks. But I'd highly recommend you try the game. $20 isn't a lot to try it, and if you like it, go ahead and buy it. So those have been my thoughts and me reading through some of the thoughts on Reddit. If you enjoyed this video, I have a website which I'll put down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it. And I will probably be back with some more Anthem content soon. I stream on Twitch quite a lot, and I stream Anthem quite a lot, so I'll put a link to that down below as well. And until next time, enjoy Anthem.